What's up guys, this is Nickfeld from Vacation.com. Today I'm going to show you how to design a White Walker poster from Season 7 of epic TV show Game of Thrones. It's going to be a long video tutorial with each and every details included. I hope you'll like it. So let's get started. First of all, we will open our desired image. Our image is here. So today we are going to make this image into a Game of Thrones poster. I'm going to use Jon Snow's original poster here. Then what we will do is drag and drop Jon Snow's poster over our original file, and here we are going to place it over we will place it in a nice way that matches our face or your face. We will rename the background by double clicking on it, making it our poster. Okay, then Control T, select the Jon Snow. Select the Jon Snow layer and Control T to select the transfer and make it resize it. Resize it to match your face. And you can also select your original or Game of Thrones poster layer here, Control T, and resize it as well. So I think it's better. What you have to do is invisible your background layer or our poster layer. Then select Jon Snow's layer, go to image, trim, okay. And now make it visible again and bring the Jon Snow's layer underneath the our poster layer. In this way you can work over our original or your own poster. So the next step is going to be background removing. We have a white background here, and I will show you how to remove it in a very fast and quick way and professional way. Select the selection tool here, quick selection tool, and resize it by holding the Alt key and clicking, right clicking, dragging the mouse left and right. You can resize your brush. Then select the white backgrounds. By once clicking, you can select all the white backgrounds with this tool, and also by clicking Alt, you can deselect the areas that are selected as default. So I'm going to just deselect this first. Okay. Now, when you are sure that you have a nice selection over the backgrounds that you want to remove, next you will do is Control Shift I to select inverse, or you can do this by right clicking and selecting inverse. Select inverse. Now I have my image, my face selected. Then we'll go to select and mask. After this, you can just play with these settings over here, but I'm not going to do this. First of all, I'm going to select or check this high quality preview, and over the edge detection, you have to select a smooth radius and play with radius. Just look in the background, which one suits you better, select that one. So for this image, I'm going to select a radius over 16 or below 16, below 60. Okay, there's a nice thing. For the last thing we're going to check here is decontaminate colors. Okay, and then output to a new layer with layer mask. Then click OK. Now our background is removed, the white background is removed, and a new layer is created, and our original layer is invisible. It is there, but it is invisible. Our original layer is not is the same. So what we are going to do is create a copy of Jon Snow's original poster, and go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur or motion blur, whatever you like. I will choose Gaussian blur first. Okay, make a nice blur. Here I'm going to choose a blur between 20 and 25. That is better, so it is going to be 22. Okay, then go to filter, blur, and motion blur this time. I'll choose your angle, 19%, 90%, or 76 is also fine. So it's better 80% or 90% is better. So here it is created. Okay. Now we have okay. The next step is going to be just retouching our mask layer. Select your layer and select the mask layer, zoom in and go to the edges by selecting the brush tool and resizing it Another shortcut that I'm going to tell you is this, that by holding Alt and right click and drag your mouse up and down, you can choose between the hardness of your brush. By dragging left and right, you can resize your brush, and dragging up and down, you can choose the hardness of your brush. So I'm going to choose a nice smooth brush for this one, and just paint over the edges of the hairs that are appearing here to make it more smooth. Now it is okay, absolutely fine. So the next thing we are going to do is select your image layer, and then go to dodge tool and burn tool. I'll use burn tool, and then zoom in, make an exposure of take a very low exposure for this image, maybe 10%, and choose shadow for shadow highlights, and just a minute, and paint over the edges. Okay, just a little bit, not much. Okay, now the next thing that we are going to apply over this image is the color. For the color, as you see that Jon Snow's picture appears in blue, so we are going to apply a blue color over our image. By that, first of all, we make a duplicate from our poster by clicking Ctrl J, and just make your original poster invisible, or your original layer invisible. Select the duplicated layer and go to filters, camera raw filter. Camera raw is a nice addition to Adobe Photoshop. You can use it in many ways. It is a very good software. So camera raw is loaded. You can make it full screen or just a preview. I'll make it full screen, and then go to play with these adjustment layers. So I'm going to play with this a little bit, make it a little bit brighter, and deconstruct a little, and make highlights a little bit de-highlighted. So, and make the shadows a little bit darker, and whites a little bit whiter, and blacks a little bit more black. And I'm not gonna, no, this is not going to affect anything, so we will choose the vibrance very down, and saturation also down. So for the next part, we are going to see what temperature can do, nothing. Then the next step we are going to is the next point, tone curves, and here you can also play with tones and shades. Here I'll play a little more with these tones. Okay, the next we are going to sharpen our image a little more, and details to 0, and by clicking Alt and selecting the masking, you can see the details over here on how much or how the edges of your images are going to be sharpened. So here I'm gonna see that I don't want all my images to be sharpened overall, not the skin tones, not the skin here, and not here, but I want the nose here, the edges, the eyes, the eyebrows, the hair, and the lips, and the mustache if you have, and the beards. I want them to be sharpened a little more. So by holding Alt and clicking and dragging this slider here, masking slider, you can select that. Now the edges are sharpened more, and other than the edges, they are not affected much. So the next thing we are going to do is split toning. On split toning, you can use, first of all, we will have a nice saturation here, and then we can play with the colors. So for Game of Thrones, I will use a nice blue color here. Okay, don't worry, because first of all, in first attempt, we cannot select a nice tone for Game of Thrones poster blue color. For upcoming steps, we are going to make it more original. So nice blue here. There it is. And for the highlights, we'll also make it a little bit blue. Or you can select blue. Okay, then we will apply it. So the next step is going to be the eye. the White Walker eye. So what I'm gonna do is select the Jon Snow layer, and from the selection tool select lasso tool and select around the eyes, and Control C, Control V, copy paste. Then select your move tool by clicking V, and then place your pasted layer is another here. Move it over the top of your image, and then make visible your original image, and then place the White Walker eye over your eye here. So make a nice placement so that it doesn't affect much, or in a way that it suits you. If you don't know how to make it right, then I'll show you the right way. Control T, your pasted layer or the eye layer. Just a minute, I will rename this layer to eye layer. Okay, then Control T, select mouse, then place it around. So here for this image we are going to make it like this. Right click and select wrap tool. By wrap tool you can do a lot more things, like you can change this, make the shape of eye to your eye. It is very simple and easy, but you have to be more concentrated over these things. Now I think it is a best match for our eye. The next thing you're going to do is to feather these edges by selecting eraser tool. Press E on your keyboard or select eraser tool from here, and then resize it, make its hardness to 0, and then just paint around the eyes or erase around the eyes so it blends nice and smoothly. So it's almost done. Control T, and I'm gonna just bring it a little more down, and from here up you can choose rotate it as well. Okay, again select the eraser tool, make it more blend. Okay, now it is done. And make a copy out of this eye layer by clicking Control J, and move it to the left eye. Control T and right click, flip horizontal. I think it's perfect. And we have a White Walker eye in this step. For the next step, we are going to apply some vintages, some dark effects over the edges, over the corners of this image. What I will do is create a new layer and select your brush tool by clicking B on your keyboard, and make a good size, just like this. By clicking D over your keyboard, you can make your foreground and background color as default. For example, if I have different colors here, and I just want black and white color, or to be, I want this to be as default, just click D over your keyboard. And then our brush color is black for default, and just paint a nice line, bold line here over the face. Yeah, like this. Okay, and now go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Yeah, make a nice Gaussian here. This is okay. And now make a copy of it by clicking Control G, and make the go to filter and blur and Gaussian blur again. Make this one blur a little more. I'm selecting 120. Okay, and then what you're going to do is select your shadow layer here, or the brush layer here, and make its fill less. I'm going to select 60 for this image, and select your copied layer here, Control T, and just resize it a little more here. Now it's perfect. So what we'll do is one more thing. You can play with blending modes also. Just select your shadow. I will rename it as our shadow over face eye shadow, not the original eye shadow. eye/shadow. Yeah, and this one shadow copy. Select your eye / shadow layer and go to blending modes. Play with these options here. Yeah, for this image I'm going to select overlay and then bring its fill to even lower percent, 15%, 50%, and make a copy out of it by clicking Ctrl J, and then go to overlay, make it again to normal, and this is okay. Bring its opacity or fill opacity to a lower percent. Okay, 40% is best for this image. The next thing we are going to do is I said applying some vintages over the round or corner of this image. We are going to do that, and we will make our image a little bit more sharper. So select your image and go to the sharpen tool. Make its extend to 17% or more, and just paint over the edges that you want to appear as very short. So I'm painting over eyes and eyebrows and hair. Yeah. Now it's perfect. For the next step, we are going to create a new layer and select your lasso tool. Select a nice round edge. Okay, right click, feather, make 100% or 100 pixel feather. Okay, Control Shift I, and then by holding Alt and or by clicking Alt and delete, you can fill your selected portions with a foreground color. My foreground color is black, so by holding Alt and delete, you can make the fill, your selected part, to be filled as a foreground color. Control D to deselect it, and then go to make the fill very less, and also opacity to 70, and the fill to 80, no, 50, or even less, 30 is okay. You can also play with blending modes. Overlay is perfect. Select the image and go to filter and then camera raw filter, and play with these adjustments again. So I'm not going to play with these adjustments as they are tones. The tone is perfect. Just play with the temperature. I'll make the temperature a little bit more by selecting 7 or 8. 8 is perfect. And the 10 to 3 is good. And now go to sharpen, make it a little bit more sharpen. Radius, detail 0, and masking. Yeah. And the next step is here. Again, we will play with this temperature, these shadows. Yeah, this is perfect. I will give a link of the snow in the description. You can check it later. I'll open it, and here is the snow image that I'm going to apply as overlay. Select it and drag and drop it over your image. Make it to the top of move it to the top of all other layers and rename it to snow layer. Okay, and then Control T and resize it, or you make it a little bit larger. You can flip it around, or rotate it just in a nice way. The next you're going to do is just play with blending modes. I will select screen with and press enter. Okay, now place this snow here. It's a nice and cool snow. Make it just resize it a little bit more so it can fit nicely. Yeah, this is perfect. And then the next thing you are going to do is just It's fill or opacity a little bit less. Yeah, it is okay. And for the next part, we are going to just play with more adjustments, and the final step that I'm going to show you is the final retouching of this tutorial, and it is very important for your image. As your image is, or when your image is looking like this, just hit Control Shift Alt E on your keyboard. It will create a new layer out of all your visible layers here. Not these two layers, other layers that are visible. It will create a new layer out of them. So I will make it, I rename it as completed steps. Press enter. Okay, you can now select the other layers, all other layers, and hit Control G on your keyboard, make them in a folder, and rename it as steps. Done. Enter. Okay, we don't need this folder, so it is for just make it invisible, and we are going to work over this image. First, make a copy of your completed steps layer by hitting Control G over your keyboard, and then go to Filter, Blur Gallery, and choose Iris Blur or Field Blur, whatever you like. I chose the Iris Blur, and now it is a nice blur effect that gives a cool blur effect like the Jon Snow's poster we had. So just play with these edges according to your face structure. So I'm going to place it and make it larger and more flat, and this is the edges. It selects the edges between featherness, the sharpness, and the blurriness. These parts are the featherness, so make it a little wider. Now we are good, and click OK. So see, it is a nice effect. Then what you are going to do is you can apply more snows if you like. I will open the snow layer. It's already open, and drag and drop it over our image, and then by selecting screen as blending mode, you can select a nice snow, and by selecting your eraser tool, you can erase some part of the snow that you don't like, which appears. So yeah, it is done. Yeah, so the next part is going to be the finishing part. Again, you can select all your images, or without selecting, you can hit Control Shift Alt E on your keyboard to make a layer from your selected or visible layers here, and select these layers. Control G, hit Control G to make a group out of them, and rename it as completed steps here. Okay, and then select your final layer. Go to the filter and camera raw filter. Then you can also again play with this adjustments here, as temperature. I'm going to take it a little bit low, and the vibrance or desaturate your image a little more, that it looks original. And then go to the effects here. Just do what I'm doing. Yeah, and then hit OK. Now it is done, almost done. The final step which is remaining is adding the text of Game of Thrones. The winter is coming, and also you can add the Game of Thrones text. For this, you need to download the Game of Thrones fonts. I will give the description a link for Game of Thrones fonts in the description. You can read it and download it. So select your text tool and click on the screen and write something, your name, anything you want. Game of Thrones. I will write Game of Thrones. Control A, and then resize this. Okay, and make its color to white. Press enter. Okay, and then it is done. Place it to the bottom of your image or anywhere else, any place you like it. So I'll place it here, and the next thing you can do is right here, winter is coming. Control T. I will make it is size to 36 maybe. Yeah, 36 is fine, or maybe 14. Okay. And then select your image in the poster and align it to the center of the poster. Okay. And then select your text layer, and by selecting it by clicking or hitting Alt and left and right arrow key, you can give a little bit more space between the characters. Okay, when you're done, just place it here. Winter is coming, and then you can give it a nice shadow by double clicking over the empty part of your layer. You can open the layer style, and from the layer style you can give a drop shadow here, a nice shadow, smooth. I will choose, yeah, the size is 30 and the opacity is 60. Good. Yeah, it's okay. Then click enter. Winter is coming, Game of Thrones. Hit the shift and hashtag on your keyboard. It will write the exact Game of Thrones font for texting. I did it, and Control T, make it large or small, whatever you like it. And this is it, our Game of Thrones poster.